Welcome, everyone. It's a fantastic Saturday as we're getting into the Canadian hype of beyond the northern border. We've got ourselves some great collegiate action as we've got the Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition here for Valorant. The finals, third place, first place, whatever in between. Everyone's going to be able to be mean. I'm Hail Monkey Man in the booth alongside Justin, turning their way through the caster scene now. And now from this end of the broadcast, Justin, how has it been the last few days being able to cut your teeth on some great Valorant as we're at the end of the road of this big bracket?
Yeah, these games have been really insane. I mean, this is the peak of Canadian collegiate, especially in the scene that we're playing. Not having Neon for the last few days, but being the third day in this tourney, all these teams have been able to refine their comps, being able to play these agents, and with the last two teams here for the third place match, looking to face York in the final. I'm really excited to see what they play.
Let's go check out the Badgers and the Mustangs as they try to figure out who will face off against the Lions. We go first into good old Western Esports. So they got Haruhiro, Elvis, Doggo, Slinger, and Arav. This team in particular has had to fight their way through, and I believe they fell against Brock in the bracket just a little bit before, but they took down Big Blue of University of Toronto in that lower semifinals. To get to this lower finals, this is a rematch, Justin, of what was, that 1-0 on, well, you saw too much of Haven just the other day.
Yeah, when they played before, Western was playing their traditional double duelist comp on Lotus, and Brock consistently playing their Viper Vise Omen, which at first I thought was just, a meta comp for Lotus. They decided to put that onto the other map for Haven as well, beating out York actually in a really dominant fashion, but still eventually losing out against York and now rematching Brock.
Well, we'll get to see if that one will be where we turn around because we see Brock Esports on the other side of this one as well for this lower finals matchup. Miracle is coming in as maybe a Miracle sub in place of Kevin, but they're going to be running alongside North's Zombie Zeno, Hune, and WJK. So can Brock be able to do it again and get themselves a date in that grand final? There will be no bracket reset for all intents and purposes. Valorant has a long game, so your gift of not having a bracket reset is simply being able to exist in the finals first. So for your, I guess, of your kind of symbolism into this one, we have no Neon. Things have slowed down, maybe just a little bit. Miracle coming in as a sub. Is this Brock trying to pull in something different, or maybe just trying to keep Western maybe guessing and checking as they go into this best of three?
Yeah, as I would say, I feel like, having competed before, being the team that has lost, I feel like you're actually kind of in the advantage in the sense that you are able to kind of learn from your mistakes, be able to, reformat and even change things up. And if you have time, even practice those things. While the winning team, you can't really prepare for something that is unknown. And especially in this kind of environment where now it's a BO3, you have all these different maps. You're not going to get as much information as you would have liked from that previous game that you played against them. And that gives a lot of potential for Western to essentially make their way back to winning.
See if that ends up happening as we go into it. You guys need to know what maps we're playing on this best of three. We may not even hit all three, but a couple of them will at least go the right direction. So for our series tonight, it's going to begin where a lot of collegiate series all begin, and that's on Lotus. Very popular as one of our three site maps. Haven is often where we go, but we decided to hit the old temple, as it were. And at minimum, after that, we'll be going over into Pearl, which is kind of divisive, I'd have to say, for a lot of separate squads. But even more divisive is the map that's literally broken in half. At the end of game 3, that's Fracture. We get to have ourselves a winner if that's not already decided midway through. Of these three, Lotus is a good starter kit, I'd have to say, Justin, because, I mean, you get a lot of options to audible your way from site to site.
Yeah, super fundamental on Lotus being a three-sided map, a map that has been in rotation and ranked for a little bit now. A lot of collegiate teams try to play this map very, very simply, using their strengths. But recently, especially within these top three teams, I've seen a lot of Viper players consistently playing the Vise over the Chamber as well, which really shows that there is a lot more team play, a lot more coordination rather than just taking fights, with traditional double duelist Chamber picks.
I do like Vise on this map. It feels like there's a good way to use her Steel Garden both offensively and defensively for responding to a sudden push. There was a knee-jerk reaction whenever the cooldown got expanded on a few of her on her kit, and then everyone realized, okay, actually she's still way more viable to be able to get played. So you see some Cypher play, you see some Vise play, and then ultimately we'll see these guys play. We'll be going into game number 1. Just around the corner, the Badges of Brock Esports. Can they take down Western for a second time and get themselves into the grand finals? Already, we get a Vise on either side of the kit. We get a raise as well. This is pretty much bar for bar. The main differential there is you get that double duelist composition versus the double controller. So a little bit of extra pressure as Western wants to bring that attack early.
Yeah, Western being on the side of attack here, you really got to ask yourself, how are we going to start, demolishing this kind of setup? And as I've seen before, Brock has a really consistent C hold, especially putting with the Viper Vise, having that kind of, defensive anchor. You're not going to give them anything easy. Having this Viper Wall also to help deny that easy A pressure. Western has to really decide if they're going to make the same mistakes last time, giving up early pressure, not fighting. But I think this time it'll be looking a little different.
I do like the deeper concepts we have to the geometry of this map as well, because you have that deeper corner when you're pressing up into A if you're just trying to straight up tackle it. And also bringing the Rays on the side of Western, they have the chance when they go into defense to maybe utilize some of that paint shell, but you already get a nice tap. Zombie Zeno nearly giving a departing gift onto a player that was pressing up over mound. So they push their Rays actually as deep and far as you could to see, just to see if someone overcommits. And otherwise, the numbers are saying if anyone wants to come out and be too aggressive from the defense.
Yeah, and you have this totem pole peak. Brock playing really passive here, already securing that first pick. They're not really looking to make any more aggressive moves, while Western just decides, let's take our time here. Raise it really low, being inserted outside A. Maybe we can make a work our way back, and hopefully Brock can get a little impatient, and we can have a free sight.
Talk screen is spread all the way across B and A to really provide some of that extra support of rotation if necessary, but it's gonna be a 4-1 split as they go right back to where their Rays player is chilling just beyond mound. So they're gonna poke that door, see if they can get some kind of rotation, but those 3 players that were at B, they're starting to come through, and now they're trying to squeeze all the way in. Haruhiro, they're not gonna be prepared for this, so they're gonna be taken down immediately. Miracle Sub will find first blood. Zombie Zeno throws up that poison orb, and now they're gonna be trailing behind. They might be able to get a free pick here directly off of this plant. Now they find that first one, they go for next contact. That's a nice double tap, and that's already 3 for Zombie Zeno. They might be able to get this one at least to half. They do so, they find the 4th as well, and that is just easy cleanup by Brock Esports.
Yeah, Brock staying to their strengths there, having 3 walk down mid on that late round, trying to get that information, trying to get that timing. A really good play catching her here off guard. And again, that initial pick, just giving them that control, pretty much controlling the entire pace, letting Western do what they need to do, but still securing. And Zomzino just being an absolute defensive anchor, securing that site, really going to be making a lot of plays.
I like the idea of kind of the trailing rotation that you got out of Western. They planted one person early. It was kind of easily, well, not easily, but it was early read by Zombie Zeno when they got first contact onto onto Hyun, and so, or rather onto their Rays. And so as they were looking at them, they're like, all right, what do we end up kind of walking towards? They already had a hurt player. They were able to read off of the timing. Zombie Zeno, because of getting 4 kills, they're gonna have an early Phantom. So if they end up walking out with that, that's a big investment, but they double stacked this one, set to receive with that Razor Thorn, so they've slowed down Western immediately.
Yeah, a lot of, utility on the side of Brock, just being able to not have to take any first contact, force them to play util, and she's Norse trading out, but Haruhiro getting that pick back, WJK continuing. Miracle with the door open, catching Sherman, almost catching Arab through this wall bang, it's just barely 1 HP. WJK though, wall banging. It's all up to Slinger. Getting finished off.
That's as easy as it's written. WJK with off of the Ares, and so, I mean, obviously you end up kind of with your lesser buy, your no budget, your all right, what do we throw in the bucket sort of situation. So Western splashes like water against the rocks, and so Brock Esports, they'll go up them your traditional 2-0. But I mean, you're a former player, former competitor. You've seen this kind of stuff before. That's par for the course, right? There's nothing true panic at the beginning of a game like this.
Yeah, especially with a comp that you're facing, you're going to take every single round as a learning lesson in a sense, because, when it comes to these kind of defensive schemes that you're trying to counter, you really want to be able to, take favorable space, ensure that you're not going to give up any easy space. Kind of like what they just did here. Oh, great shot from Hyunbin. And Zamzino getting another on the side on from B. And now Western are just down 2 players.
Immediate first contact. Hyun is trying to do it again. Oh, they're able to use it just basically like a shotgun. They will have to run away. And that's actually 2 found by Slinga. So they at least get a couple in response. This is the buy-up round from out of the Mustangs. Western with only a 10 HP Jet. And even with their Omen sitting deep into that secret position, they'll be able to pick up the spike. They could still go for a plant. So this will be a consolation prize, even if they're unable to walk away with the round. But it's really one that's come at a high investment, considering that this squad out of Western, they came into this with this buy, and all their guns are on the ground. Climbing off of the dark cover. That's all it was. You have 10 HP. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, being 1 HP in that position. I mean, you almost have that chance with that smoke dropping and them being a little unaware, but really not much. I mean, beginning of the round, just that pressure being taken off, front B even getting another pick on your teammates is just really looking rough to try and secure any more picks.
Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kill spread there on the side of Brock Esports. So nice general starter kit, and feels like Western now, because of the bonus being claimed by Brock, they are kind of in the pit of misery. If this one goes sideways, they're going to be super saving. And I like teams that go for timeouts early, kind of when they need to, maybe have an early discussion. Depends really on where this one goes. This is actually going to be a rumble outside of rubble. They're going to be pushing this one early. They know they want to gain some space. And look how they've already taken so much of it away from Western, trying to spin this from Link.
Yeah, a lot of counter util from Western. Getting the eye to clear, but WJK getting a pick. Haruhiro trading back. Hyunbin and Slinger walking up on this rubble. Getting a dog. WJK getting more. Getting a third.
Uh-oh.
North's trying to follow up. Getting shot out by Arav. Getting 2, making a 2v2.
Spike will be picked back up. It becomes a 2 versus 2. And Brock Esports has been given plenty of time with the 2 players that were sitting over on C to kind of chill out that talk screen down so they can walk through for free. But if I'm Western, I'm looking at options. Do I commit to A? Do I try to stall enough to get Brock to maybe bite? And look how they're separating them. So they have a chance to maybe play the mind game here. And they've made this into an isolated fight because Zombie Xeno's all by themselves, but they're just kind of waiting for that audible intel.
Yeah, Miracle being a little overzealous with the early rotate, splitting up these players on the side of Brock, but Western is taking their time to clear. I mean, going into this retake, Era being half HP should be a disadvantage for them, but Miracle being so far away, there's a chance that they can catch Zamzino. Eye being shown. Zamzino showing his presence on stairs.
Because they got rid of him, so they know that at least someone's nearby. Extra gas is gone, and that won't really matter. Oh, boys down to the gun game. Irate fan from right around this corner. Be able to find one. Single tap. Haruhiro, the only one left. They could be able to go one around this entire hut. They could also attack together. Haruhiro knows it just comes down to this last little battle around the side of drop. Oh, how you look up, but you don't look down. Haruhiro trying to ruin them from all the way back around, and that is a huge play. Clutching up is Haruhiro up to the last second.
That is a round that you really needed on the side of Western. That's a round that you can't even be mad about. Miracle just not being aware that he could be backside. It's really unfortunate, but really great play and position from Haruhiro. And Western, they need to ask themselves, going into these rounds, are we still able to repeat what we've been doing? Has it been working so far? But also with this ult, how are we be able to make use of the space? That's the big question.
If I'm Brock over there, a little bit of laugh, like, all right, your Vice player looked up to heaven off of rope and didn't even consider the fact that someone may have been right behind them. So they went for the much more open and apparent target. But for Western, that was sweaty times. Just to slow them down, they have a 4-1 split, trying to make sure that no one presses out from B because Brock has presented that option a time or two. A short one-way off of the dark cover drop, and Elvis is going to go over to the corner. The rest of Western just waiting at the door for this one to go as they already decide to use this Steel Garden. Down to nothing. Elvis comes in and they drop Zombie Zeno as they pressure their way onto site.
Oh, even despite that missed Doggo just being aware. Fatal coming back on the retake, but Slinga stopping the Vice from running in, leaving it to a 2v5.
Slinga dropping Miracle.
One enemy remaining.
Can't quite hear him from backside. That's going to be Hune. Again on the fadeaway. You're in a 1 versus 4. This defense from Hune. Oh, what a sneaky angle. They actually get it off the boombot onto Irate, but Haruhiro is a hero again.
Yeah, Western making great use of that Visal, you know, having that from the previous round and just instantly deciding to make a strat to abuse it. That's the kind of proactivity that you do need from this kind of comp, especially when, you know, Brock is going to be dispersed across the map, not really taking a lot of A space. So they're putting a lot of A pressure just from the site side. So Western, you really gotta want to make sure that you're making these decisions fast. You're not getting caught out early, because the longer you really take, I mean, the harder it is for you to take any of these sites.
What's your favorite way to use a Steel Garden? Do you like seeing it being used on an attack to be able to clear out a side? Do you like prefer it for a retake? Because I feel like attack is a little bit more, I guess, and you said proactive. It's a lot clearer that you're trying to be able to make it easier for you to get to that site.
I think when it comes to teams that play slower, it's definitely a lot better for the retake, especially when you know that the space that you're taking, that you're leaving, and you're inserting, if you're understanding the kind of reactions that you're getting from the other team, it's a lot easier to be more passive with the ults. But Western just being down rounds, it's good for them to be aggressive, because they need to make sure that they can get momentum on their side.
They're doing that again. This time they know that the other Nightfall does not exist, so they're going to push up with their own. Clearing some of that width. Oh, but they also know a player is stuck into that dark cover, so Doggo is able to spray down Miracle. And Western looking a lot different after that opening volley of 3 separate rounds. Nice snap, though. Doppelganger syndrome, as that'll be She's Mine taken down. But Doggo and company, they haven't had to deal with too much pressure until just around this back corner from off rubble. They throw a couple, able to land another, and that's going to be an ace out by Doggo. Fantastic spray control.
Yeah, his positioning there, just being able to, you know, land a nice flick onto Zamzio and continuing up, and that's a timeout for the side of Brock. You know, Brock really needs to make sure that what they're doing on, you know, defense, they're making sure that they can keep their space, but they're not really they're dying too fast, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of these ults that Western are using are kind of being telegraphed. You want to make sure that you're at least, you know, playing to your strengths. They were on a little buy there, so what they're looking here now is to just make sure that they're probably, you know, doing a possible trap with the Raze ult, maybe just converging back to their original strat. I mean, Western have just been really dominant for these last 3 rounds, and you don't want them to continue that.
Do you try to take away a pathway forward with the Viper's Pit? I feel like that's like you could at least tilt your hand a little bit and just kind of isolate some of this map. I know that there's a lot of teams that like to ego check into a pit like that, but you might force Western, now that you're going into this timeout, and you know you do have, like you mentioned, off of the showstopper, forcing them to at least kind of be delayed or getting them caught to that pit. Do you use that early?
Yeah, I mean, I think Western, if you know, they're really careless, they might try to use that Viper Pit as like a chance for them to get a pick. But you know, Zamzino with that Viper Pit should be confident that they can anchor site solo. And but what they need to worry about also is just not being able to lose this A pressure early, because you know, being down on numbers here on a 3v4 fight essentially, and Western just being able to retake this consistently, that's something that you really have to fear.
Ooh, and they know that priority should be able to go and get that Nightfall. So Elvis does pick up there first, and it finds no value. Hune finds 2. Same thing as they drop him out. So the defense out of Brock, you were saying they were dying too fast. Well, they definitely were kicking butt to be able to put the Western Mustangs all the way to the back end. So they have to go and pick up that spike. But that's so much easier said than done. It is surrounded by 3 Brock players.
Yeah, Miracle cleaning up, and now it's all up to Doggo, 1v5, trying to sneak past this wall, but Zamzino being close, still getting shot down by Doggo. Could he have a play here? Bomb down Rubble, he does have his ult. But the players on the side of Brock just, you know, being a little spread out here. 2 players close to him. Raze being wary of his push. Not enough. Hune in with 3. I mean, a really great fight from Brock. That's really the only gap that you need to fight for Brock, because you know, having the Viper, having the Vaz, you're just really comfortable being able to spread your utility out. You know, have that initial map control, and just the information that you can get with the Viper on C, just being able to stall out. Western don't really have much to counter it unless you decide to condition it, but they're still opting for this A control.
And that was very patient play from out of Brock. They knew that they didn't have to really go with much of anywhere. Had that spike somewhere else, and I mean, the one player that ended up getting chopped down, they know that there was a full commit to getting at least some B push. So recognizing Zombie Zeno, oh, just so solid. Slinga hits the floor. Gonna put out maybe an early snake bite. See if they just spread the acid, and again, Elvis wants to be able to build up into that showstopper. Because why not? Poison Orb and company. This is a solid hold. You basically have a half centi from out of Zombie Zeno. So that alongside this Razor Thorn feels so difficult to try and take over. They're going to pop that one early and show Western this is not going to be a smooth push on the C.
Yeah, we have seen this before in a previous game, you know, just having these two players on C, not really taking early contact aside from that early pick from Zomzino, but making sure that they have to be the ones to stop anything that they try to do. And Western just being faced with a problem here. You know, are we gonna go commit here? What should we do? How can we pull the players out? You know, opening door, trying to cause some sort of confusion, but Brock just consistently not reacting, just having the 3 players on A, hiding their time.
Look how they've given up B. B is the sole option that you have right now. And Western realizes that they're going to have to take it. So that means the push in from both sides. But Doggo has decided that they're going to have to go all the way deep. Actually, no, that's going to be from the side of Brock. So they send out, at least they're from the shadows. So Western with a few options they have to deal with. They know that the Prowler went out early. The Steel Garden comes out. All that they can do is really retreat. They're going to have this shorty from right around the corner. Can they land both of those shots? They do. And then they try to be able to do what they can, but that's still wrapped in that nasty metal. Irate Fan finds 3, and suddenly it's everyone disappearing. 4-4 through 8.
That looked really good for Brock initially. I mean, getting the information on Raze, having the Steel Garden up, but not being able to hit the Vise, not being able to hit the 2 secret players. Just really unlucky on their side. And Western just having that positioning. Arab just having that composure, getting 3 in the middle of all that chaos, securing them that 4-4 lead. Well, not lead, but...
Oh. Hey, you still got it. They got it back.
Yeah.
It feels like with the way that these two teams kind of mount up, especially with the way Western's bank is looking, they're in a small lead, I'd have to say. If they end up losing this, they're in a safety position. But individual tactics, sometimes you're left with only one option, and then you just got to make the best of it. Sheer is here, so this will give it all away. They're going to step through together. At least that was the idea, but they kind of split them up just before that ends up happening. So for Brock, that's all of a telltale sign that this plant is happening again at B. And look how deep they actually are, waiting for this link push. Haruhiro is fighting a war on 2 separate fronts, and the room is getting small. Hyun eventually squeezes them out, and now the real retake begins.
Yeah, looking like a repeat from before, but WJK finally winning this fight onto Shermaine on Heaven. Yunbin trying to get picks back, but all the trades, Norf's getting 1, Slinger getting 2, ooh, but getting shut down by Zomzino.
Wow.
I mean, again, it's just super similar to how it looked in the round before, you know, having that Heaven fight, but WJK being able to shut that down, and all the Western players just trying to get a pick back on Heaven, but essentially getting put on an island with all the rest of Brock just coming out from CT, coming out from B main.
Good retake, just in general. They knew they had one rat in the factory in form of Haruhiro over there on A main, so as soon as they took over that rebel space and able to at least swing 1 from B main, they were like, all right, cool. We're going to just make this a difficult cycle to have to spin through. So Brock Esports has made life not exactly comfortable for Western time and time again. And I've seen this map in particular go sideways once we flip halves. So kind of depends on how this one intends to propel itself. Double Duelist kind of breeds initial ideas of going quick. Looks like they want to set up a Nightfall, but Irate Fan is waiting for everyone to get ready.
Yeah, he's looking like he wants to be able to ult on this site, but Vise and Viper being backside. Vise actually being away, not getting hit by that fatal. Viper getting caught out. Dog seeing Elvis just running up onto CT. Getting shut down by Miracle. Miracle getting a second onto Slinger.
What?
And Norf's getting seen by Doggo. Now it's a 5v3 for Brock. Time has just paused here, essentially. Western deciding, should we continue to try to force a plant here? Despite being down 2 players, and Brock just waiting for that bomb noise. And the blind and Tether coming out. 3 players coming out of Brock. Hatching Irate. Continuing. Miracle
boy.
getting 3rd. Career getting
no.
1, but getting shut down by WGK. Just a great retake from Brock. I mean, composure. Getting those early picks from Miracle. Not making any kind of mistakes and coordinating that retake. There's really not much you could do.
I know that there's a couple mechanical insights that maybe you could be able to win from deep sights, especially at the bottom side of C. If your teammate can be able to get a plant off, but you're in a 3-5. You have an exit lane. As a player POV, do you continue to commit? Because I feel like that was a sunk cost fallacy position for Western to continue going for that C plant.
Yeah, I think what you really want to do is try to max out the value that you have at the time. You're just opening door. Even if you do want to NC, just create some sort of confusion. Start smoking something on B. Just do some sort of, any kind of way that you can kind of confuse Brock into thinking, oh, this may not be a rehit. Let's get players off so that even if you do try to plant, you're able to have that chance to secure some sort of pick.
They'll need a decoy play, but I guess all the options kind of went out the window, and you get a bit of tunnel vision for that to happen. Hune is up on top of that double stack. They've been really good with that outlaw, so they're going to reposition, and they do get tagged out, so they're going to try and run away from it, but they get caught by the C's. It is a very dark place. They're trying to make them nearsighted. They are being trailed by everything and more. They're going to spray? Are you kidding me? They're able to find a couple before Irate Fan is able to do some ghost busting. Slinger from off of this Blade Storm goes deep back sight. 1 knife in the back of the skull of Hune. That means an outlaw is picked up, and suddenly we're in a 2 versus 3. Brock still at advantage, but the plant is down.
Yeah, Props, waiting for this coordination, but Slinger just being super early on this retake, seeing the fade. Trigger disciplining, getting 1, getting some Zeno, and getting away. Miracle now in a 1v2. Being worried about this Heaven player, unsure where this fade could be. Thinking that he could be tree, being wary of drop, clearing. The time is ticking down. Irate getting an eye off, Slinger showing his presence. The tag is shown, but the bomb, you gotta get on it. Irate shutting him down. I was just, great individual from Slinger. Getting that position onto Brock super early and trigger disciplining, shutting down WJK, who actually might have been AFK because he DC'd.
Well, hopefully that's not for every single round in the foreseeable future. We do look like that we're going on to a timer pause, so we'll be chilling for all of a second. So let's talk about it. Sometimes it feels like Western really rises up to the occasion here, Justin, whenever they get into some individual mechanical plays. Not that Brock hasn't been doing that a time or two, but much more of their stratagem that has worked is team execute. That is a solid retake, maybe an aggressive defense. They've been showing a lot more of the collective set piece playbook, whereas Western is reliant upon people showing up. Even if the majority of their team is in the negative KD realm, they have just these crazy moments of the multiple kill rounds, the 3s, the 4s, the aces that are necessary. So when we go to what is going to be a very big test of the actual team execute on the second half, should we be scared, or do you think we'll see a different form of Western?
Yeah, with this comp that you have on the side of Western, you really want to make sure that you're playing to its strengths. And sometimes the double duelists, the strengths are just simple as best. I mean, this is the best of collegiate, but a lot of the time that you're not going to get much value. Fighting to stall out util, fighting to burn any kind of utility from the side from Brock, and Western just not really caring, just making sure that they can get their teammates out, because they trust their aim. And that's the kind of confidence that you really need. Elvis getting out with this raise ult, forcing everybody off position, but continuing to fight this water angle. And Norf's breaking the dog, holding the angle, putting him passive, and the Visol coming in, but Waterfall getting blinded. Western pressing forward. Zeno getting picks. Slinger not getting his. And another Visol on the retake side of things. forcing Brock to kind of take a step back. It's 2v4. Viper getting used for the bomb. Hero being super close though. Sneaking in, catching Miracle. And Doggo getting his. The bomb. Do they know that they're off? Playing passive. Hero just taking his time here. Hyun been tapping. Sub-Zero looking away. Hero catching him. And Doggo. That's also 1v1. Human 1 HP. Raise up being popped. Running around. Not catching him. Tapping.
Whoa.
Hero just playing a circuit around this band. Catching. Wow. Securing 6-6. Western. It looked so distraught. But that Viper ult just giving them that second chance. And no one getting on that bomb. Being able to win their ones. That's the kind of mechanics that you were saying that really showed up for Western.
It just feels like if this game boils down to more of a cat and mouse, that Western is doing better. But when you're doing kind of these paired up sightline plays, whenever they're having to do it off of util, Brock is kind of a line above. But it boils down to, are you going to win the gun game? And Western is kind of doing that in spades, but only when they need to be making the most heroic of this. So 6-4 was the play. And then through some streakiness, Western stays on their heels. But now, will they be put onto their heels as they do have that defensive side to have to hold? Brock Esports, they're going to pop that shear. And they may actually go and test C. They show B, but I want to see the early trickeration and see if they just ramp up this pace.
Yeah, all of Western reacting to this initial C call. You know, pulling the jet, pulling the fade, having Raze solo, just jump peeking for information, and Brock not biting, getting that thorn utilized on the side of Western, and now just taking their time to walk back, inserting Zomzino on mound. This is a methodical game. This is the kind of, you know, playstyle that you would expect from Brock, having played that first half super well played on a strategy side of things, and just consistently, you know, following up with this clearing. This is the kind of high level value that you would see in tradition, but Western just not being able to rotate early, still getting, you know, pushed, and thinking it's gonna be a C rehit.
One player that could ruin a lot of this, depending on where they want to entry, is just posted up at that double stack. But look how they're still pressing the entire mid line. They want to at least have that secret box as an option to walk in. But this is getting down to the last 20 seconds. They're going to have to side execute, and so they do so. They're going to press up into B. It's going to be North, so that's going to gain at least a little bit of pressuring space. 5v5 retake, you say. 3 players all the way maybe backside of B main? That would be ludicrous and not the rapper. We go straight up into it as they're going to try and bring that paranoia. One tapping them is Zombie Xena. Off of the Bandit. Miracle finding a couple, and then they get put in the bag. And a quick response. The same player that's been existing everywhere. Elvis from off of the toilet and maybe into heaven as they're trying to be able to at least take this fight. Oh, they are dragging behind, and eventually they're cut down by their better. That's huge. That will get rid of them. And what a wild way. I feel like these opening rounds of both halves here, Justin, have just been these teams seeing the entire map before they finally hit a plant.
Yeah, you know, if I was a player being in this position, these are the rounds that would tire me the most. I mean, pistol is just mind games. Everyone having equal weaponry. It's really just deciding, are you able to outread the enemy team? And Brock just pressing on literally every single lane possible, you know, getting information before they decide on B, having that position for them. It was just really strong on Western, just not being able to keep up. And
I do like that. I do like that we're also going to be getting that talk screen kind of conditioning, because that will consistently open not just an option, but forcing the defense from out of Western to stay on their toes.
Yeah, that's the strength of Viper. That's what lets Brock, you know, have a lot of, you know, time with their lurks, because they know that they have to keep players. Well, I mean, Western has to keep players to respect this Viper wall. And that just gives Brock the confidence to, hey, they're always going to be down, you know, if we're sticking together as 3 even, there's not really going to be a lane where they can contest us fully, which Western, you know, should recognize soon, because once they start stacking and getting the wrong info, they should start taking more risks.
Only Western recognized how dead Haruhiro basically is by the numbers. Stuck behind that quad stack. They're going to throw that season. Oh man, yeah. You either go to an explosive place, or you're going to see all 4 and 5 of those players just outside of you on mound. Well, C side is free. They're coming in from back site. Going to cover that up with a dark cover, and this should be a quick plant. But it is this hot attack from out of Brock that eventually finds purchase. So if anything's going to come forward, it's got to be Western straight through the darkness and into some extra bullets. One of two things could happen. They take these duels, see what they can find, or simply die to big bomb. They at least find one. Irate gets rid of WJK. Now Irate all by the lonesome.
This is, again, super methodical from Brock. Just playing to their strengths, taking their time. Western trying to stack. But this is really where the games start. I mean, Western getting on into equal or even better weaponry for their buy round here. This is where they start to make their mark. I mean, again, straight mechanics, but being able to consistently take A space, that's something that Western needs to make sure to do so that they're able to shut down the value of this Viper wall. And yeah, just following up with that information, being able to stack the right side to beat Brock to the beat. That's going to be really important for them this half.
We go into a pretty strong bonus. I think it was, what, 4 players surviving from out of Brock? So a lot of guns to carry forward. Western wants to carry forward and steal some space, as they do utilize that solid wombo combo combination. And Doggo is ready to see numbers. They've been good for an ace. Oh, and they find you jump peeking to try and pop that shear, but immediately the punish through the smoke is actually Mick Nasty, and they don't give their life for nothing. Zombie Zeno knows that probably contact is crawling up to this main link. But all of Elvis and Irate Fan that will be by themselves. Ooh, but the judge, that's a good space taker if you're ever gonna have to press through one.
Yeah, even with all its utility, you really need to make sure that you're not gonna, get trapped for another pick. But Miracle shutting him down, making it 3v3. And Brock trying to force themselves through tree here, but Western having Irate Fan and Slinger just sitting backside. Hopefully walk into him. The bomb's getting planted. Is he gonna swing?
30 seconds.
Catches Norse, but WGK trades with Slinger getting his pick back. And Miracle getting onto backside, aware that 1 is in drop, but he's no 2. Oh, and Haru Hero just catching him with his gun showing. Thought it could have been a repeat of previous rounds, but Brock couldn't get it.
It's funny though, because her hero being the one that did that one round, we remember, they probably like, you know what? Check the corner. There's no reason to leave a stone unturned over there. I know this play. So we go to a traditional 2-1 start from off of the half. Western would love to even up the odds. They've done it before and they want to do it again. Brock, they currently have that Nightfall online, so could use that to greater effect. It looks like they actually want to weaponize that. They don't want to let this early combo happen. They may actually just let it fall first. Oh, they're going to receive a bit of damage. Actually, WJK, what the heck? They get rid of a couple knowing that it's coming anyway.
Yeah, being able to open up with those 2 picks on that A fight. Just straight individual, mastery there. And Western just really need to make sure now. Can we keep this? Can we keep as much of our guns? I mean, 2v4. There's not much that you can do here. Not having any ults. Maybe possibly being able to hold down to some exits. Getting the smokes out, zombie. Getting frag and just getting the second. The third for the round. I mean, that game or that round just opening up from WJK. That's the kind of X factor that Western really can't accept, in my opinion, because you want to make sure that you're able to get that A control, because that's really the basis of the entire round playing out. Getting pushed off A, you're able to understand how many players, and again, just being able to comfortably give A space away for a later game. You just want to make sure that's possible, but losing those early rounds, it's testing your confidence now, and going back on an eco, it's gonna be a really difficult round for them.
It feels like Brock maybe had been kind of reverse conditioning them, because the same push out, you have the same 3 players, they're going for that ult orb and they want to be able to take over early space. And now, oh my goodness, Zombie Zeno checked their PC, because they were just like, hey, this is too deep of a dark cover. I feel like they're going to try and press up to this. So hitting them from around that solid wall. Zombie Zeno and company, they will find another one as they sacrifice Hune, trading their teammate. There has to be an expectation that they must clear this rubble position. Oh, they dropped their weapon for all of a second. Everyone is aiming at them, but they at least get one. So Norths will get rid of Slinga. This is the worst buy from out of Western on their defensive half. And it will be a commit. Doggo will punish them for going in there a bit undisciplined. A nightfall against 2. They're trying to at least tag them. They get 1. That doesn't really slow them down.
We're barely missing the shots here, but our hero, can we get 1? The BJK punishing him and getting Doggo. Oh, we thought he had an insane spot. You know, seeing the Omen there, but on the slide, just barely missing him. Really unfortunate. I mean, this is looking like Brock just controlling the pace, keeping their control of the map. You know, not falling for Western's aggression and just keeping their space and distance. And Zomzino just being able to play this A-lurk super, you know, in Western's heads right now, because regardless if he takes the wall or not, Western needs to make sure that they have some sort of A control, you know, or at least pressing up on the other lanes of the map.
Now be understated the level of importance that this particular round has, because, oh, Irate fan getting rid of at least Norths. They've been a thorn in the side for the last few rounds, but if this one spins sideways, Brock Esports might have themselves a free entry to at least getting game 1 point. But good first pick. A lot of the last few first bloods had been acquired by Brock Esports. So for Western, very necessary. But look at this long flank. They're already in attacker side spawn. Slinga chillin'. And they're actually trying to be very quiet about this. They had lined up for him. WJK is great first contact whenever they have to find and can be able to get rid of a counter agent.
Yeah, and the Vise while you're being popped. Zomzino getting inserted into Link. Brock is deciding, wait, our Viper player is walking back mid, but we can go back. And the rest of Western, Fade leaving the line, giving Zomzino a timing.
Oh no.
But he's not getting the shots. Oh, secures Irate. Gets Doggo. And Charmaine being on an island, getting 1, but Miracle trading him out. That's a 1v3 for our hero.
30 seconds left.
Tough situation for her hero at this point, knowing how deep in the pocket the Western is. I mean, you just gotta be able to go and either get some kills or you're gonna save. And trying to keep this one cool, calm, and classy. They use that Steel Garden just to make sure it's as easy as can be. But if I'm the teammates behind her hero, I'm thinking that maybe this is one you keep a weapon in the old back pocket. But they know at least someone's a tree. Are they prepared for this crossfire?
Looks like he's not. He's been securing the last pick for Brock. I mean, that's a great lurk from Zomzino, and just the timing. Irate fan just turning just around just for Zomzino to get the space there. I mean, that's a great lurk from Zomzino, and I'm not really sure who the IGL is for Brock, but you know, they're doing a great job. Maybe as a team, they're just communicating these gaps, and being able to stay together. WJK also securing the pick on Slinger on that flank. Just, again, an X Factor type of play. Not really expecting that.
Like the idea they peeled open a page from the playbook. And again, kind of super stacking this A main side. This is going to be primarily, especially from out of the shadows, our hero gets rid of Norths. Hune was trying to support him with that showstopper, but nothing in equilateral distance is going to be tested. So everyone from Western still alive. They have 5 ultimates. Some of that investment might have to happen here, especially because they've got the Viper's Pit up and they have to go straight into the belly of the beast. They actually get rid of them, and all of a sudden, this is where this entire lane is, that they will finally use that Steel Garden to try and even out the odds.
Right, so not killing Miracle, but Miracle getting his second of the round, making it 2v2. Bomb being tapped. Zomzino catching Irate fan, getting banned. What just happened? 5 ults on the side of Western, but Brock getting theirs. Miracle not getting punished by that Razor, getting his 2, and Zomzino falling up, catching Irate off guard. That was just insanity. I mean, in those positions as well.
You only had what, couple invested. You had the one Viper Pit from out of Brock. You had the Showstopper and the Steel Garden to try and not only present some level of threat and lethality, but also trying to take guns out of hands. Didn't matter. So Brock Esports, they're one off from taking a one up into this total series. Again, same tried, true, and tested thing. They're going to put all 4 of this main stack forward. They actually just march it straight down to the throats of Brock. Zombie Zeno has retreated as far and wide as they can. Everyone just shows up. Are you kidding? And they've decided, you know what? One good belt deserves another. Miracle and Hune are able to bite back as they go back into a 3v3.
Doggo catching Miracle on that C push, and Brock just running up, the door being opened, and Doggo just holding this angle, taking their time. WGK getting aggressive, fighting Doggo, getting into 1 HP. And Slinger with just a classic in hand, responding, running towards spawn. So the defenders being split here, and Jumin trying to get some early space, possibly catching Doggo here off guard. But Doggo shoots back. Fatal invested, WJK. Hearing the Omen TP, taking his sweet time. Getting Doggo, but he's left to 1 HP, and Slinger just running up mound, knowing that Fade is CT. But WGK is going for the wraparound. Slinger getting onto Spike, tapping. WGK taking his time. Knife out, hearing Slinger get off the bomb. But Slinger just too aware of him being too close.
This is nothing.
Keeping Western alive in this, second half deficit.
That was a nice play call from out of WJK. Knowing how tricky they are, I mean, Slinga kept their head on a swivel. So good looks. Felt like they had a couple of options. Either you go directly from off of that pillar, but as soon as they popped open that gun, I mean, it's like, all right, they're going to see you just right over the old rail. But, hey, adaptability, especially from some of that mid gunfight, everything was nasty. And look how they're already kind of spilling out that play. They know that they can maybe walk to B. Look at this stack from out of Western. Are they about to just pour out in mid?
Yeah, they're in that smoke to keep the Viper in the same reaction. But they're opening the door. Fatal, Blind committed. Blind's being traded out. Looks like they're trying to press, but no one running through the door. Just everyone behind. Now time has frozen for both teams. Just taking their sweet time. Zeno trying to see if there's anyone that got out. But Western getting out into spawn. Miracle seeing our hero getting traded by Slinger, and now Zeno turning around. Seeing our Ray fan getting shut down. 4v3 for the side of Western.
Know that they've committed the majority of their numbers to just be able to get to this. So you have 1/3 of the map completely open, but the rest of it is now just being slowly circled upon. So for Western, kind of a do or die situation every single round. They have to force overtime just to be able to get here. They will open up door, everyone fighting together. Brock Esports has to recognize at this point that all of them are just going to sit in the same spot. Slinga finding WJK. All of Norths, they're going to give away their position. They see one on top rope. They try to be able to take care of one. They do so. And again, from off corner, Doggo gets the wall bang. And Western is finding that little spark here, Justin, to try and keep it up.
Yeah, a lot of these rounds just coming down to their proactivity. Again, just having that early mid pressure, deciding to go back to it, catching the 2 lurkers off guard. I mean, this is the kind of round that, from Brock, you would expect a timeout on. Just making sure that they can secure this last round. Even if this round is a little bit of a weaker buy, you want to make sure that you have the strategy set up for any other rounds that you need.
All right, so we're going to have ourselves a little pause. Chill for all of a moment. And if you're really kind of looking it out from Brock, you have some leniency for the next 2 rounds. You don't want to, I think that this one, I didn't see their total economy at this point, but they sit in a spot where you want to, oh, thank you so much, Observer. You sit in a spot where you're probably going to be on the lesser buy, maybe 1 hero rifle if you really want to. Miracle has a huge bank. They might be doing the same thing with at least a couple of them and play the buddy system. But for Western, you're in a solid position. Just playing reactive. They decided, especially in that round, Justin, they're like, hey, we're going to play together. and like in the most immediate fashion that you could really presume. And there's no reason. We'll just win by committee, by volume, if we can't beat them individually.
Yeah, Brock's strength was definitely making sure they can, work the map, get some information, but Western just taking initiative, making sure that, as a group, they're getting a lot of value and they're trading each other, winning these fights. That's the mechanic side of things, playing on their side. Brock deciding to, doing an initial 4-man walk up onto B here on a weaker buy. Western pressing up onto C. Behind his dark cover. Unsure if there's any players on the other side. And Brock having this 3-man hold onto A. 2 tree with the Vise committed. Zamzino leading the charge. Slowly walking up. Zamzino so far ahead, getting into stairs by a Ray fan, catching him off guard. The door being opened.
Bring them down.
Now Western are thinking it's going to be an A hit. Blinds are being used. A lot of noise in tree. Doggo ult, trying to get information, being cancelled. And Brock just being stalled out, not getting the chance to run in.
Go as far as sniffing the tree, but that's about it. They hang out in the old garden and then they retreat. So giving up one player as a sacrifice, and Western repels them. So now as they kind of bundle around, I mean, you would expect for Brock to probably go towards C. They might actually just go one short of that and not using that mid-link position off of Secret to just directly hit off of B. And that's why they've sequestered that C site to just between a couple of lanes. And so they might actually squeeze them here. So Doggo wants to use that paranoia. They've got 12 seconds to commit to this when they get off of the haunt. At least one solid blind. Arav is able to arrive. Doggo is going to do the same thing from just off of the Prowler, and it is a killing fest. The entire barrel filled with Badgers, and they're just being completely taken out with efficiency from out of Western. They're within 2. Let's hit an OT.
I mean, we're seeing a lot of retakes being won on actually both sides for the defense. I mean, Western pretty much having won every single round on this half on the post plants, making sure that they're not giving up those deaths early. Making sure that information is also not being easily given for Brock, because Brock playing slow, trying to get idea of man count, where the players are, who is fighting it where, and just having a decision off that. Western just shutting them down and making sure that they can keep control. Doggo being on an up and down here, trying to punish this Viper. Zamzino, is he gonna be able to look above the wall? He catches Doggo.
Oh my.
Slinger
Just
watching Rubble now. That's a really great shot from Zamzino, opening pick, and the rest of Western unsure now where to fill the gaps. Brock just taking their time, starting to slow walk back towards C.
just when Doggo went to all that work to have the Minecraft strat, going to the back corner of the block. Unfortunate for him. Elvis as an operator, they see a single pixel of difference and they are going to absolutely be able to walk someone down to the respawn screen. But because of the threat from at least one, they were off position for a second. Hune takes a 50 cal to the shoulder piece and decides they're going to limp out of this round. There's a 4-4, even with a good first shot. A giant boomstick will dissuade you from parading directly onto site. So they're going to look at that door. They're going to look at Brock and see if they want to take this one a little bit closer to the timer. They got 30 seconds to execute.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, blind being used, blinding the op. Norf's getting out. Molly being used, but 2 players on Western just taking their time. Haru Hero catching the planner. Zamzino trading out on the op.
Spike down. C.
Trying to get bombed down here. The tether coming out. Spam. Haru Hero still backside. Sitting in the storm. And Slinger getting back with the rest of the team. 3v3. Dark cover being used for the CT walkout. Irate seeing North's eye being used. 2 players in bend. Reacting. Haru Hero behind the smoke. Catching North's. Getting the third onto Miracle.
Oh my.
Another post plant win from Western. Consistently winning these rounds. I mean, look at the momentum. It's on their side.
My ultimate's ready.
I think at one point it was what, 12-7 or 12-8, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Brock
12-7,
has,
yeah.
yeah, Brock has used up all their goodwill and all of their insurance at this point in time. So now Western, they're on the precipice of bringing this to go the distance. Not a fantastic buy if you're Brock. You've got to weaponize what you have. You have the Steel Garden as well as the Nightfall. Be able to at least clear some space. The tough part is getting there in the first place without giving up some players. Use the information from off of that from the shadows. Western, they simply could just hold some of these longer sidelines. Doing it with the op. Got a couple ults that could be able to put some fear into the heart of these Badgers. That dark cover off of that spray, Horror Hero knows that there's at least a few that want to take over Mound.
Yeah, a little bit of a stalemate on the B line here. Elvis being on the up line. Actually leaving the angle, but Doggo shutting him down. Charmaine securing the pick on the door angle. 5v3 for Western. And just really no movement from them at all. Staying in those positions. And Hari Hero just biding his time. Waiting for any kind of confirmation for Brock to commit onto his site. Sitting behind Ben with the flash. Brock trying to problem solve this wall. Walking through. And you see a garden being used. Hari Hero catching. That's a spike.
Spike down, C.
Shorty out. Getting one. Human securing. Ulting. What's a 1v4? 30 seconds left. And Elvis from the side of the door. Securing Human. And now it's overtime.
What seemed like a sure thing from out of Brock, Western turned into a whole thing out of us. We have overtime, and in case you somehow haven't seen this over the course of your Valorant careers, well, welcome. This is extra time. We will be flipping back and forth until someone figures out how to win this dang game. Game number 2 will be around the corner, but for both these squads, it's feeling like Lotus has met some equidistance between them. So as we go back to Brock's defensive half, I had said that they were very strong for kind of team execute, but I gotta give some credit, some kudos, some lauds over to Western, because this team in particular, like, they started really kind of rolling together, and they just simplified the game. It's like they were outthinking themselves before, and they've just decided, hey, we're just gonna straight up go and make life uncomfortable for Brock.
Yeah, despite being down a lot those early rounds, they're just able to play confident, consistently make these plays on their side. And again, yeah, just breathe life into their team. Now meeting this Vise wall, deciding to walk through. Western trying to problem solve. Norf's catching Stinga, catching Haru Hero, blinding out. Could be looking for more here. He's TPing. Miracle catching the rest of Western, and Human just following up. What a flawless defense from Brock. I mean, completely a 180 after losing nearly, what, 5 rounds. Showing that they haven't lost their step.
Match point.
And a timeout from Brock University.
I think well warranted in this moment, Justin, because at this point, we've seen both teams do way better defensively than we have offensively. Now, considering that it went 6-6 both halves, you know, I could be like, Monkey Man, like, what are you talking about? Stats are stats. But it's true. Like, for some reason, I mean, you look at those 5 diffuses that we get out of Western. Good, solid retake paradigm from off of their defense. I mean, and the way that obviously Brock just kind of stomped at the door and denied Western from even getting in properly. This is going to come down to just, hey, can we finally have an attack that doesn't leave like 2 or 3 sacrifices just going up whichever lane that we choose? If Elvis sticks with us op as well, I mean, that's not a bad choice. As they've provided a lot of movement with Slinga having kind of a more dynamic positioning from off of this map. So, and they're like, Charmaine, pick an angle, put someone down.
Yeah, and both teams on you know, Western's defensive side, it was really just coming down to who was gonna make that first mistake. I mean, Western being super confident in their hold, trying to make sure that they can, you know, stay in these positions and win their fights. And Brock, so methodical, so patient, and getting all those plants. You'd think that they were just ready to win, but it really just came down to the gunfights.
Western decides to spread things out. They're going to hyperpopulate here on Mound and a couple of dark covers just to be able to keep everyone confused. Rav is waiting for everyone to arrive. Ooh, one little jiggle peek and they are out. So they're going to give the call. How is that affected to this defensive pattern from out of Western. They left that spike behind just to see if they could be able to get a pick, force the hand. But look at this long flank rotate. They are checking behind them as they rotate into A main because they know Western might pop out from the out of C, but it is a 4-1 split as they try to traverse into the Garden of Metal all the way over here with Haruhiro.
Yeah, look how they're positioned in Waterfall. They know that they have lurkers on the side of Brock, and they're willing to give up some of that space to hopefully catch that initial pick. I mean, Vi's here, just giving Western the no call to being able to enter and leading them to front B, and Western just all being off-site, being ready to respond once Brock uses all the utility. But Zamzino being positioned outside Waterfall, giving that a safe spot onto A, and Haruhiro hopefully able to clear him out.
Timer's going down. Hewn up in heaven. So waiting for any kind of contact. We have a full 5v5 and there's about 30 seconds or so left to be able to get it done. Sling is able to get rid of one, and now the collapse begins. They're going to be able to splash them against the wall. Miracle and Zombie do they hear this one get to half? They're able to find him just off of that side of the dip. Now it becomes a one-man adventure. Zombie Zeno's done it before. They know there's contact around the corner. They're trying to be able to bank shot this one. Is that enough damage? They're vulnerable. Doggo is covering them. Do they believe in that one? Not quite. They're gonna actually jump in with the shorty. They missed both the shots. They're able to find one. There'll be just enough time as this one's gonna go to double OT.
Those shorty shots, I mean, I would say within an inch of winning them this game, but
Overtime.
just insane mechanics also from Slinger, just coming out from heaven and being able to continue a dominant performance from him so far in this jet play, just getting a lot of mechanical value. And Western really happy with that round, just another retake win. Super strong on those type of rounds.
We can actually win their attack. We get some defuses up. We get some solid retakes. Brock, that one took all the way down to what, about 25 seconds left, and everyone's starting to get involved from out of Western. And it's really going to be this OT who finally wins their attack. That's going to matter the most. Both teams have been solid about presenting a resistance unto that. We haven't seen a proper secret hit, and we've congregated a lot of players up into that same side. So that means North's is set to receive. They don't know, at least someone's nearby. That one's gonna give him away. The TP out,
Planted.
getting just enough. They've decided to test here on B.
Yeah, full 5v5 retake again, but this time Western being an attacking end. You know, blinds being used, Heather being used. Western trying to force back. Brock securing a pick. Rayfan trading back. Yunbin getting his. Her hero getting his. Remain getting two, and that's a 1v1.
Player standing.
Does he know he's Link? He thinks he's B main. Doggo letting him get half. Jiggling. Showing the bomb is tapped. Doggo having a fight. Zamzino getting the third. I mean, you just thought that it looked like Western was going to win that with the trades coming out. Jermaine getting double the value that he was supposed to.
Switching sides.
But Zamzino securing one and securing second. Having the chance to win this game now over Western. Another retake win. I mean, this is the kind of game that I think is at the peak because Lotus is being an attack-sided map. Every team winning their defenses, you know, all cylinders are firing right now. Everyone's trying to outstrat each other, and the mechanics are just been magnificent.
This is gonna eventually come down to, have we used every single play in the book? They've got that op presented over towards C. Ooh, just early peak C's of Slinga. So they take over and they win some positive territory towards this other side of A. So Brock will re-navigate. It's a little bit hurt. They've got their raise less than half. Rav is patiently waiting for anyone that wants to enter that crosshair, but again, you know that your opponent has taken over Rebel. You at least threaten to push out because you can now at least get up onto this little platform with talk screen. Slinga has to be ready for some of that. A paranoia comes out. They know that they're going to be presenting themselves. Slinga finds three.
Down A.
And all of a sudden, you're back down to maybe another OT in the books. WJK has to fight the literal world as they got 4 targets to do it. Oh, no. Can't quite get that 50 cal to land. But WJK is fighting a war on too many fronts.
Yeah, I mean, from the start, that round really just determined who can win the fights. Omen not being able to help
30
Sherman, but
seconds left.
Slinger, but Slinger just getting 3 off that. Another mechanical, stepping up from Western. It really is just kind of come down, to who has the strats
Overtime.
and whose mechanics can keep up for this game. This has been a long game, a lot of thinking, a lot of, conversing from both teams. And Western, in my opinion, has transformed a lot, just continuing to change and continuing to respond from the way of Brock. So Brock now, they have to think, being on the defensive side, are we able to make another miracle like Zamzino did the previous defense, or can we make sure that we're back on our, on our regular self?
Yet again, who can have a favorable attack? Western, I completely agree with you. Definitely has evolved in a big way. And I feel like the way this series is going to go, it feels like whoever wins this is going to be winning Pearl. Pearl can be so divisive, and we see some of that happening. Hune, at least they will be countered from out of our hero. Trying to be the big hero right now. Everyone is poured in. They may actually use B as a segue to move over towards C side. Zombie Xeno is recognizing this, so they go and challenge over towards Waterfall. Oh, the geometry ruins them. That wall tags their shoulder. Oh man, trying to be able to find it with a couple, but Irate Fan, and that's gonna be it. This attack is near about complete. Miracle has to push through. Hold that thought. They take their gun down, able to find another one. The spike is separated, and suddenly Brock recovers.
1v1. Elvis, he knows that he has given away his position, so he has to take his time to clear every angle. And Miracle playing off this information that bomb is down on default. Taking his time, securing the third. What a 1v3 clutch from Miracle. I mean, that is a Miracle play. Insanity. Another defensive win.
Match point.
Just when we thought, I mean, that's probably a caster's curse, I guess. Calling out. But Miracle just having that position. This is insanity. I mean, this first game, this series, I agree with you. Whoever wins this series or with this game is going to have a strong advantage.
That feels one of those backbreakers. All of a sudden, your attack was working. You were able to adapt, and you won out a solid rotation from B to C, and that was looking very strong. Then one big play from out of the super sub and Miracle, and you're left scratching your head. Slinga, oh boy, they've got the backdraft ready to be able to get themselves in and out of there. They might be able to do it again. They find 2. That's what you need out of your solid duelists, as they hold back sides. So Miracle and company, let me get this plant off. They aim to defend from that tree position. Oh, can't give it up too early. Miracle's good for another one because the 2 versus, well, making just the 1. Zombie Xeno sees a couple drop. They're going to swing together. Our hero can't quite get him from behind enemy lines. They're going to use that slingshot, but a shorty is just one too far. Quadruple overtime, anyone? Well, ask and ye shall receive.
It looks like,
Switching sides.
both teams are just so
Overtime.
confident right now on how they decide to retake. I mean, Slinger just having the value in that backside, keeping the numbers up, eventually allowing Western to continue to trading out the picks. This is going to be really tough. I mean, Western actually opting for the Elo cannon, the op for the attack sided. A little different from what we've seen before. Could have some value here on this A fight.
It is a different look. We have not seen an attacking op as of yet. You don't often see that, but hey, you know what, Elvis? Show us some good looks. Show us those blue suede shoes and see if they can be able to move. So they know someone's off of this link, and they're going to test that midpoint of B. Again, B has become way more popular here in this overtime, realizing that both teams are basically surrendering early space. Oh, no. Miracle dropping out early. So it's a 3-2 split. Here comes the
Brock
plant.
is not being ready for that walkout. North's not getting to see Omen and Jet cross that wall, costing that round, or costing that pick. But Elvis is getting pressed over on the C flank, getting running gun. WGK getting 2, and the Fatal's coming out. Slinger getting Zamzino, and North's getting out onto the bomb, getting tapped. 1 C link by Irate coming out of heaven, getting 3. The sprays, the shots.
That's why you go to aim labs, people.
Switching
Running
sides.
through WJK, I thought they had themselves a good look, and they decided to tell all of Brock that we're gonna fry and we're gonna get in there. But unfortunately, from out of heaven, Arav, one irate fan, if you will, they ended up winning the day. We hadn't seen a team up until this quadruple overtime win an attacking round. That time, Western showed up. I've been asking for someone to win one, and it feels like that's the turning factor. Western has now done exactly what I've required of them, and they might be able to take away this overtime and get a 1-0 in this series. But Brock, I mean, now that they've seen that an attacking round can be won, it's up to them to prove that they can do it too.
Yeah, and the utility, so much here on C, but none of it really getting popped. Rock deciding to opt for a B hit, and Western positioning themselves for the C re-hit while getting popped. And the A players playing so deep, having the information that no one is really pressing up, waiting for this wall to come down.
Toxin screen down.
Taking their time, Slinger just playing in deep heaven, letting them have the sight,
Toxins going up.
and Irate Fan just trying to get some sort of information they can once this Viper wall drops. Possibly being able to see the Brox rotate, seeing the fade, hearing the door open, Slinger being put into this position, the dog catching him, dashing away, still playing up on site, getting Norfs, getting Zamzino, looking for a third, but Doggo continuously, and that's Western
Spike down A.
finishing
Defenders win.
with a 32 round first map.
Wow. It only took 4 overtimes, and I was asking who was going to finally win an attacking round. Turns out that Western was going to turn up. So they end up taking that one 17-15. Sling top in the charts, 32 and 23 for Western. They are looking so darn dangerous. Got to give some love over to Brock because, I mean, with Zombie Zeno and WJK, they definitely did the same thing, but it was down to who could be able to actually press that attack. And off of that initial pick that they got from that B of that last overtime, I mean, Justin, that was where they were able to set up shop and shut down the rest of the Badgers. So Brock left reeling after Western found, what was it, 4 or 5 in a row to force overtime in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, the first and the second half being a little slow for Western. You know, in the beginning, they were just getting essentially overrun, not having much control. But into that end of the second half, it just looked like, you know, they just completely transformed, deciding to play slower, having more of that map control, being able to decide, you know, can we kill the lurk, having these retakes and consistently doing that, even into overtime, every single team just trading out the defensive wins. But in the end, you know, Slinger getting so much value in the backside, consistently getting his two, and the rest of Western just following up, not giving up any picks, finally got them that map.
Well, we're going to see how the next one goes. Are we going to see quadruple overtimes all night? I pray not. But for all of you out there, it's going to be CIE madness as we go into a short break. Game number 2 of Pearl will be right around the corner right after this. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition. We've got the Valorant finals here with the lower finals deep into this bracket. I'm Hell Monkey Man in the booth alongside Justin as we get into game number 2. I had said it maybe as a hopeful meme, but it feels like it happens a lot, especially after deep games like what we just saw before. A quadruple overtime, 17-15, Justin. But Pearl into game number 2 can be somewhat divisive, and I actually do kind of expect this one to be a much shorter game, even by contrast.
Yeah, I mean, Pearl is just a kind of map where it really does kind of momentum snowball, especially on really either side. I mean, most attacking maps, tend to be a little equal, especially for those three-sided maps. You know, those are the maps that a team like Western, Super Mechanical would really dominate on. But Brock just having a consistent defense. I'm really curious what they cook up for Pearl. I mean, they have played the Viper, a lot, but in this map, having a Viper, I haven't really seen what you can do with a Viper. I mean, it is a really strong double initiator map, even a double duelist map, but I will be surprised if they pull out the Viper, and I want to see what they cook up with it.
I've seen in recency, Astra still continues to be relatively strong. You get a bit of globalization as well, if depending on what kind of higher tier you have Some of your sentinels go much more towards, all right, do I want to still get some cipher information? Do I just decide to directly challenge getting that chamber unlocked as well? But you're talking about the initiators, and so Gecko can be kind of run into. There's a lot of options, and some of them play a lot better into one another, but it's also about how, because some of your duelists also kind of down check into this game, because I feel like so much of what we saw just a little bit ago was really our Jets and Raises showing up in big ways. So we're gonna go up and do game number 2, and it's gonna be Brock Esports trying to bounce back after maybe letting this one slip on by. And for us here, looking at the old deck of choices, I'm not surprised at all to see the Phoenix duel really coming up to shine.
Yeah, having the Phoenix on both sides. Really, the only difference being the Sentinels here, Chamber and KJ. KJ just being a traditional space holder, having a lot of utility for those mid walks, for any of those gaps, and having a KGL for retake, a really strong sort of safe play. Something that I actually would have thought would have been more towards the side of Brock, but Brock deciding to opt for the Chamber. Something more aggressive, something more on the lines of fighting and getting picks. It'll be really interesting, especially with Brock attacking first, and Western just having that insane defensive prowess before, just trying to continue that onto this half.
Can Brock bounce back? Can these Badgers be able to get back into a solid fight against York, who is waiting for an opponent, or does Western shut it all down here? We'll find out very soon as we walk into Pearl. So much of this game, especially onto this map, starts and stops just around that art row, depending on how you want to navigate it. But for this defensive hold as well, you're talking about a space saver. I mean, Killjoy can pretty much either kind of mid-link and protect and get information off of everything if they dedicate their turret and their bot to it, or they can literally hold all of A, which it looks like they're going to have to do because Brock Esports is leaning up into this main position.
Yeah, Western having solo KJ on this A side, and Brock just deciding to all run out, get that initial space, trying to continue and extend on the secret. Power Hero getting his Slinger behind him, getting 2 more. She's mind trading out, but Power Hero getting shut down by WJK, and WJK in a 1v2 situation. Slinger dashing away, getting his 3rd, continuing his dominant performance of multi-frags on multi-frags.
Slinga showed up into that previous Lotus matchup in ways that Western obviously needed them to do, and so that's why exactly they're at 1-0 right now. But Brock Esports, I like that they just kind of went full and honest. There's some teams that get apprehensive about pushing into a main position like A, and it's either you run down the full length of B or have to somehow be able to win with lesser utility and of an early pistol for that B link. But hey, let's just get the pistols hot. Let's the mouse's the mice's clicking. But again, even when they cleared out the initial toys from that Killjoy Cincy, now they're gonna have to do it all over again, and they've decided to bring it in force. A judge might shut them all down.
Brock, probably not unaware of Charmaine being in his position. Elvis getting 3, Deagle out looking for the 4th, getting his. Nice, looking for the ace. North's just unsure what to do here. I mean, I should judge on the one side, everywhere else just complete unknowns. The alarm bot catching him, making so much noise down here, and Haru Hero off the turret, securing that. I mean, what a great shot from Elvis. No, great weapon.
Solid work. And that judge is so decimating going into that previous. So obviously, I mean, you look at what Elvis is able to bring to the table, and they continue to work from off of that the initial raise and going over to this Phoenix. But you just know when you get a shotty, you know when you need to be able to bring a big power weapon and no one has any ability to stand against it. So save round, big bonus, Western, and these Mustangs now going to try and treat Brock to a little bit more of it as they want to protect mid. They're now going to be testing out to be, as Miracle kind of leaves themselves behind as maybe a decoy, seeing if they can receive some of this early positioning and pressure. But I think Western are starting to feed into some of that because they've decided to kind of walk over back towards B from that B link position. Her hero knows that they have too many targets So Miracle is all of a decoy, but you also have one out in mid as Charmaine is maybe thinking to catch him off guard.
Yeah, Elvis getting this timing, trying to fight back, but Miracle is shutting him down. It's a 2v5 for Western Norths. Yeah, getting this late flank onto the side of Western.
Uh-oh.
Seeing Fade not getting the shot, but the rest of his team trying to follow up. Slinger getting pushed up, and North securing that third kill. Flawless buy round for Brock.
All right. So again, another 2-1 split as they had the solid advantage. And now that actually saves them a ton of cash because they had their first buy. So Western will be going into this one as full invest, and then might go even Stevens depending on how this ends out. You already have the running back ready on both sides, so that can provide a lot of information. They can provide a lot of lethality because they're not just there as a ghost, they're there trying to be able to at least find some extra picks. So Brock might actually weaponize that one depending on if they can take space towards Art. Are they ready for the 2-2 swing? They find first tap. Oh, then they return for another one. North gets rid of Slinga just when they're trying to be able to go back around. Zombie Zeno is now here to run it down.
Yeah, and Elvis being all on A, just running it back, not trying to make sure he can get a pick for that Phoenix Salt. And his is still being up. Brock getting that initial A space, having that art control, pulling all these Brock players. It's really looking like they might try to look for a re-hit here. Hari Hero just playing super passive. Zamzino getting the walk down into art. But Brock, super passive. Taking their time on what is essentially a free site.
That one little poke from off of that B link, and that was pretty much it. As soon as Norths was able to do that, it got a lot of players to react off of the Western defense. So this will be a deep run by Zombie Zeno as they go as far as they can into the Nebula. And oh, if they just be able to take around that corner, they are well protected by Arav. Irate fan knew that there was a chance that they might get picked off early. But that's WJK. Continues to find multiples and taking care of business. Doggo falls off the ledge. Doesn't want to do that again. And eventually they do find Miracle. 2 versus 2. Both players trying to be able to just walk their way through, and that's not going to happen. A 4K from WJK. As now they're going to force Western onto a save.
Getting flashbacks to the previous snap, WJK having the great mechanics to continue, especially on a Fade character. Something that we'll expect from Zamzino as well, being the top frag in the last game. You know, Phoenix being such a strong character on this map because you have so many orbs, easy access, and just having that ult, being 6. I mean, each team already using their Phoenix ult. It's only been 4 rounds and a half. I'm gonna be expecting a lot more.
I think it's like one of the few remaining 6-point ults in the game, so gives huge value these days. If you just lose your shield, you get to keep that if you run forward with it. We're gonna get all the way up to halfway onto this attacking half. Blade Storm gets popped out by Slinga as Western is ready to receive this war on wherever it's gonna go, but this spike is at least being tempted to push out towards B, and they force them to chill because they have at least that cover coming out. Charmaine, it's gonna be Elvis that retreats after receiving a pop, so they're gonna try and heal themselves off of the hot. But I mean, Brock Esports, look, they're not exactly tempted to have to work this clock too soon.
Yeah, Brock knowing that Western's down on weaponry, they really want to make sure they can keep their distance and not get punished for any easy kind of plays. And that's what the B players on Brock are trying to look forward, trying to secure a pick. Dog being used, catching Doggo out in this corner. Flash coming out, Zamzino shutting him down. Hari Hero getting a trade back. It's a 4v4, but North's getting one, living. 2 people pushing out Hari Hero on this angle, running him down on street. 4 players.
No
But Hari
way.
Hero catching one, getting shot down by Human by Slinger. From heaven, getting 2. That's a 2v1. North's, it's all up to him. He hears the jet going down onto site, dashing towards, running at him. Jet smokes, getting back to back hall. He hears the Phoenix running at him. Back and forward, and Slinger just updrafting. What a great 180 from Slinger there. Western being so down on weaponry. Hari Hero being caught. And that's a BMO budgeting thrifty.
Able to make some big investments as they come in and make that one happen. And of course, across the entirety of our Valorant matches that we had from not just this this tournament, but as well as the game changers, it was BMO that was able to provide some investments over to the charities from some of our teams. It was really cool because they were, I think it was per BMO budgeting play. They were giving $10 over to each of the squads when it happened, and then give it to a charity of their choice. So that was really fun. So for all the Valorant streams, we get to be able to see that one 10 separate times. So thanks over to BMO, but we go straight back into it. First half of the first half was round number 6. And wow, Slinga and Arav, they're just doing some damage. Zombie Zeno, one of the few remaining, and it's all of a sudden 2v2 inside of 15 seconds.
Yeah, getting his ult back here despite being down. Initially he's getting those pickbacks, and as a 2v2, ult being used, and Western being initially split off here. Doggo just opting for the A insert, waiting for this rehit, and our hero trying to opt back for the utility to come back. But Brock doubling up after the wall has been used. Still have 55 seconds left in the round. And they're just taking their time. Doggo hearing the star being used, but not hearing any kind of players, not seeing anything. North's poking backside. Doggo seeing his gun,
Enemy remaining.
thinking, but as he knows, Zeno's close. Zeno flashing, shutting him down. It's a 1v1. Healing back to full, getting him bombed down backside. Our hero knife out, trying to make sure he can
Spike planted.
Can't time maybe. Sees Zeno. Zeno turns around. Our hero getting that pick for Western.
It's kind of an interesting plant choice because you know that they're calling out where they are. So either you're going to come through from that art side for the most part, or you're going to sling back sight. So, I mean, it's so much of Valorant is just a puzzle of where you're trying to guess and check where someone eventually might go. But tough calls and tough scenes for Zombie Zeno. Becomes 4-2 for Western. And they're slowly finding a flicker of flame to have a little bit of control here on Pearl.
Yeah, I mean, Zeno having that ult, being able to be in that backside position, but you really just have too many angles to clear. But, you know, breathing out that round, making sure it doesn't really affect you. You have jet ult being popped here, and you just want to get some sort of control back. I mean, getting aggressive here. Miracle, not knowing there might be 2 players behind the smoke. Flash getting committed, TPing, but you're right in front of them. Slinger getting his A control, and Human dashing up, getting the pick back onto connector. Brock committing both ults, having mid control, and North seeing Haru Hero stuck in the corner. Everyone's converging towards B, or Doggo in the corner. But Doggo, so many smokes, catching Human in the smoke. He's on an island. 3 players from Brock trying to pinch him. Zeno flashing, not catching him off guard, and the fatal being committed. It's a 3v3. Western's trying to respond fast.
Spike planted. Face your fear.
Another fatal being committed on the side of Brock. They should have all the information that they're all CT. Elvis trying to get out. Dog being seen. Irate fan getting his.
Remaining.
Western looking for that last Irate fan. Getting a second for the retake. So many ults being thrown, but the information. Western just keeping their space and winning those gunfights. Going up 5-2.
Had an Eco Ultimate on the side of Brock Esports for that Blade Storm, and then you had some, I think it was one of the running backs as well, was used for their for the side of Western. So felt like Brock was on a knife's edge trying to make that one work. In Western, I mean, playing it very patient. Nightfall for Nightfall after the initial plant. Felt like that was a little bit of an overburn, a little over ambitious. Like, all right, let's get this information, but we're not able to really act upon it, especially in this round that we're more or less saving. So 5-2. This is the biggest deficit that we've seen Brock have to face so far. So the Badgers are in a tough position now. Our hero in that middling situation where you can get a lot of info from off of all the tech that they put down. Miracle being tagged early, and so far this has not exactly been their best situation for their chamber.
Zeno already being low here, but getting the time to walk out. Elvis punishing him. Human getting to trade back onto the connector player. Western being so aggressive on that map control, and Brock just responding to, you know, regrouping, trying to walk back towards B here. But Western seems like they might be reading this. Elvis getting nice and close, towards Miracle. Does he know there's 3 other players behind him? Getting his movement, getting a third. WJK trading him back. And Doggo hiding backside. WJK is just running knife out. Dog clearing Doggo. There's already an early flank. WJK getting his on site. Slinger right behind Norvs. Does Norvs know that there's a backstab here? Bomb getting planted.
Spike planted.
Heather
Last
just
player
missing
standing.
WJK and Slinger securing that flank pick. It's a 1v2 WJK.
Last
Jiggling,
player
spotting
standing.
Av.
Oh.
Getting the third. And he gets the fourth. What a swing from WJK. He is something. These multi-frags coming out of him just... I mean, it's generally just mechanical prowess. Brock calling another timeout. Trying to get their, their footing back. I mean, that was just the WJK round. He gave him that. So many plants getting thrown down for Brock, but a lot of retakes being won by Western. This is a really difficult half, in my opinion, because Western, they have so many ults, though. They can continue to press with these ults, and the amount of map control that they're giving Brock is essentially none. We saw with that street fight, so many trades about Brock just winning that space back, or losing that space, having to opt for the B, and Elvis getting the 3 on that round. Because of those decisions, it looked really rough.
Did. And I feel like there's been a dependency for the kind of the main squad from out of Brock to really come alive into this map, because you're seeing the 1 and 7 from out of Miracle, and they were not looking like a sub into that previous fight off of Lotus. And I feel like there's a little bit more versatility for them to use from off of that Vise. Pearl asks you to be a bit more honest to your role as to how well you can be able to take wider hallway style skirmishes, and for their chamber it's been well read by Western's defense. So we're gonna see if maybe that begins to pick up. Maybe the defensive side will be where they shine a little bit more. Tour de Force gets popped out here on Brock's side, so we'll see if the golden gun comes up big. That's going to be Elvis that already uses the run it back. They use a couple of curveballs and they're trying to pressure him directly off mid. And unfortunately, that golden gun hits the floor without finding any value. So they get rid of the Ghost Man on third from Shermaine having to be reset. But the Frenchman, unfortunately, just can't find much at all.
Zamzino trying to get this B space back. Punishing Slim, but are we sure? We know that Doggo's here. Doggo getting one. Getting spotted out by Yunbin. Yunbin trading back. It's a 3v3. Rayfan trying to get his with WGK, shutting him down. Being up numbers here. Seeing the Phoenix wall, seeing the Phoenix Molly. And trying to get some sort of information. But Brock have a third player alive and he's running onto A. He's telling him, hey, let's run over here. I'm in spawn. Have confidence. And Western just not being able to respond. Trying to see if they could possibly do a rehit.
Super smart play. You got to wonder if Western reads this encounter, because they know that they're not coming. And there's going to be a gun able to be picked up, so they should be able to at least contend with them.
Seconds left.
Problem is, all right, if they left here, how are they so confident to run over towards A instead? It's because their backline is, in fact, being intruded upon. So the plan comes through.
Planted.
Our hero will have a weapon. So we'll see if Brock can at least finish this fight. We've seen heroic plays from Horror Hero and company before. Trying to play a little bit of decoy from out of garden. Oh, North Sea will show themselves right here. Horror Hero. They eventually get knocked down, and that'll be where it lands. So 5-4. Rock Esports so close to evening things out through 10.
I forgot to mention it as a player perspective. I found it really interesting that they decided to commit that timeout going against an eco. Usually you don't want to give, the enemy team that has the weaker weaponry a chance to coordinate themselves, especially because there's just so many things, especially being on the defensive half. But Brock, I think they're just setting themselves up for the rest of this half, having the ideas that they want to continue, being able to position their lurkers into these power positions, getting information, and just consistently having this fade get the Phoenix and everyone else onto the right spots.
From a caster's perspective, we only guess what ends up happening through some of those timeouts. So feels like you got to plan for at least a couple of rounds. So when you actually do it from off of a win as well, that's a different kind of attitude shift, a pace change. And Brock wants to make sure that they maintain some of that. 3-man hold over here on B. couple of stars put down initially just to see if they can cover from off of that main position. They'll use the firewall to start prepping up, but look how they actually have their fade all the way down B long to try and see if this link is going to be productive. Doggo, they turn away. They try to be able to do some blind coverage as the curveball was coming in, but Hubin and Zombie Zeno too strong.
Yeah, he just got caught out. I think he was trying to smoke the B main for his teammates, but they're just unaware that
Spike planted.
Zamzito with the flame wall just getting past his alarm bot. But Miracle also being in his position, aware of this waterfall player getting punished. Zamzito getting her hero, but still a 2v4 for Western. I mean, Elvis so far away, might just be opting for a save here.
I think this is the first time we've seen a save at all between either of these teams. So, which, you know, now this presents us kind of that medium of we're chilling, we're hanging out. Nothing's going to happen for the rest of this one. And Western recognizes that this is going to go back to even. So for Brock, they have won, I think it's 3 rounds in a row since taking, or at least a couple, taking that time out from off of winning that round just before. So solid showcase by them. And as we go through the first 10, all momentum rests with the Badgers, and Western gonna hope that this next buy up, which is a pretty weak one, maybe sets them up for the end of the round. I feel like at best for this, you're maybe looking at a hero rifle. Do you really force up to this?
Yeah, this is one of those kind of rounds where I think you are going to be more dependent on your ultimates, especially having the KJ Astral. You're essentially just going to be able to play retake on any of these maps. I mean, Astral Wall will completely block off any kind of spam util that will be coming out on the space that you clear with the KJ ult. So you want to be a little passive, but, you know, Western opting to take this A fight, and Human killing Elvis, not getting any value on killing the Phoenix, and WJK following up, getting the value onto the double duelist fight. But they continue to press on. Fade sitting backside, Irate fan getting his eye out, but getting caught by Human. Shots being missed out, but 3 scans coming out. Haru Hero getting his. WJK trading back in the last. Doggo getting out on the site. He has a 1v1 on the site player. The art player is coming back. It's a 1v2. Miracle jiggling, like securing the pick. So gritty. I mean, I almost thought there was a chance for Doggo to get a pick there before seeing the chamber, but or seeing the Astra.
I mean, there was definitely a world, and I mean, Doggo's found an ace in that previous matchup, and they definitely are a dangerous player to have to deal with. Talking about leaning into those ultimates, well, they've got nearly 4 online. Irate fan, aka Rav, they will be finding theirs probably into this this next round, the last round of the first half. And if I am to recollect and recall, it went 6-6 when we were on Lotus. For all of you out there, this could probably end up becoming a 2 a.m. stream. We'll find out one way or another. Slinger throws the Blaze Storm. They have only 1 blade left. They have to switch back over to their rifle. I think that one's a better choice. The arsenal gets deep, and so does these bullets. Zombie Zeno finally clears out 2 extra duelists, and we go 2-2. 20 seconds in, this one just got loud.
And just like I said, it got loud, but now it's so quiet. I mean, that initial engagement, so many we have seen in this series. And Zamzino, you know, I might add, has been consistently getting 2 a lot in those kind of retrade fights. It's really, really consistent play. And he might just be able to get his ultimate as well by the end of this half, having the bomb on him. Brock deciding to walk back towards B. KJ Util having a deep turret, having that deep connector alarm bot, essentially just giving all that street walk up and just letting them, you know, them get the information. And Irate fan is being solo A side. He's so far away from this walk up. Inching forward. Brock might get spotted by
30
the alarm
seconds
or the
left.
turret here on CT.
Turret's destroyed.
Getting the information. Not our hero. Committing the KG out on the tops. Zamzino sticking the bomb anyways. Getting the molly. Forcing our hero to swing. Our hero securing the pick on Zamzino. Now it's a 1v1. Miracle. So far away. He has eyes. He's unaware of Irate fan. Knowing that the eyes pop. Bomb gets tapped. Tries to jump peek. But Irate fan is just sticking. Miracle! He's on the bomb!
Oh.
6-6 half.
Switching
They
sides.
didn't have the sight line. Oh, sometimes you have to invest that extra step. Maybe swing out a little bit further. Talking about investment, How about to help you focus on what's important, we talk about one of our sponsors here and helpers and partners out for CIE 2026. BMO has checking and savings accounts and credit cards and borrowing options. Oh my, specifically designed for students like you. Open a BMO student account and get up to $950 in value, including $175 in cash with BMO's current student offers. Make sure to visit bmo.com/students. That's bmo.com/students for details. And remember that BMO Next Level is a first of a kind program dedicated to helping gamers level up in the game and in real life. Make sure to check them out. Go to exclamation point BMO Next Level. That's BMONXTLVL for details in chat.
Opening up this half, Elvis getting the pick onto Miracle, getting the street control, and all the players on Brock funneling into connector. Doggo having the solo lurk, trying to 4-1 crunch Norse. Are they aware that he could be in the smoke? Fade being right beside him. Catching Doggo off guard. It's a 4v4 retake. Western trying to press him off this angle while Brock continuing to run down street. Elvis trading him back. It's a 2v3. Elvis getting his third. Hyunbin stuck. Getting one more. It's a 1v1. It's a back haul. Super close. But it falls in the side of Western.
I need to know, Justin, in your opinion, because I feel like it's been happening in recent months. I feel like in the first several years of Phoenix's lifespan, obviously with Valorant, we didn't really see often aggressive hot hands. It was kind of used for relegating some space. It was for self-preservation, and you can see it was still used for that. This has been a lot more frequently that they aggressively like, nah, and they molly out people. It feels like it's being used far more offensively to take away corners.
I think part of it is also because the flame wall is an ability for you to heal now as well. So that kind of gave them, you know, I can still heal with this piece of util, and my molly just becoming a more secure way to consistently get these positions. Especially in the way that this map is being played out. I mean, Brock falling to the 2v3 retake, but Phoenix is just a great kind of positional character where you can kind of do everything, and especially if you have really good supporting util, like again an Asher for the global util, your wall or your mollies will get, you know, refilled. I mean, if you can get those 2 picks back, you're gonna get it again, and that's something that they also just recently added. I guess more for last year, but just having that refill util and making sure that if you're a Phoenix, you're able to get the picks. You can still get a second molly. And Irate getting his third for the round. Getting shut down. I mean, that's just the weapon difference.
Yeah, that panned out for that one pretty much how we thought it might kind of go. So off of the early plan from Western, in a solid position to maybe run some of this down, especially with, I think it was like at least 3 surviving players. But Phoenix and that dynamicness, it's why both sides pick them. And so got to see if that ends up ramping up here as Western's already on the running back in round number 3 of the second half. There's a lot of solid weapons being held right now by the Mustangs. And they have a solid chance, depending on how the rest of this half goes, to be able to force Brock out of this tournament. Force him to hold the old 3rd place ribbon. Use that running back early to try and run this one on and in. They want to take away that fountain side. And so they're going to clear out all this backside, and at least as far as they could go towards Art. So they know where they ain't, which means they've got to solidify where they is. Hyunbin wants to run in, run out. Trying to use his curveball early, and look how everyone retreated, immediately hopping out of harm's way.
Yeah, Zamzino's presence with the Phoenix, super intimidating. But Miracle actually has an early spawn flank. Hyunbin being in his corner, getting seen by a Ray fan, and the flash coming out.
No.
Now being able to get his, Ray fan getting one more with the classic. But Miracle catching the Asher, and Elvis continue to press, getting out the site. It's a 2v4 for Brock. Norse getting a timing out to Flowers, hearing the bomb go down. Weekend being so close,
No
getting
way.
his 3rd of the round, and Miracle is all up to him. Getting flashed by Elvis. All the players running, getting cooked alive. But what a round from Western, especially from Irafan. I mean, he's essentially playing gun game there, getting a stinger pick, switching to his classic, getting one more onto Zamzino, and getting another gun pick. Despite being 1 HP, massive value on his side.
Oh, that's, I mean, you're finding some of those for free at times. The unfortunate position from off of Brock, they had one deepened corner from off of that A main long, and then you had your Phoenix that was trying to play in basically a timing support to put the curveball, get the blind, and then give some free targets. But I mean, IRA fan isolated 2 of those fights, doing it with a stinger, no less. The CQC king, if you will. So they were what, like 20 HP. They maintain at least a sight line deep in the garden. Maybe doing the same things here again. We're full 5v5. You have a 3-man lean from out of Brock towards A main, but they've already decided to rotate out, and they may actually have one press out, but they're gonna roll together. This is gonna be their first time seeing B long. We'll see if they can be able to test the waters as Miracle will hold a high ground position.
Getting shut down by Slinger. But are they aware that Norps is back in this map? I mean, Bomb getting down.
Face your fear.
Oh, being committed. Fatal. And Norps getting his coming out, but Doggo trading back the Astra. It's Elvis getting out on site. They're getting the information that Phoenix is in Hall. And they're getting bombed down. Brock being down a player. Trying to see if there's an answer. Domzino getting out with the stinger. Getting close. Getting a raid era, but getting traded by Elvis.
Remaining.
Power Hero securing another pick, and it's all to WJK, but he can't do it. Western 4-0 to start this half.
Tough
I would
scenes,
feel
right? I mean, tough scenes
really
right now
good.
if you're Brock, and we got a timeout.
Yeah.
We've seen this squad take timeouts progressively into an attacking after finding some success. But okay, give me the player's POV. There's some solid analysis into this, but like, is this simply to kind of get everyone to recoup? Like, just you feel like you need to be able to take a moment to kind of lean back and rest. Like, where do you refocus for this squad?
Yeah, Brock, I mean, their main focus here really just has to be a mental clearance. I mean, yes, it's down 4 rounds. That's still a winnable game, but you're down a map overall. This is something that, you know, you're going to be thinking in the back of your mind. So you want to make sure, but you're not desperate to try and get these rounds, but you want to make sure that you're focusing on for each round, seeing what you can get. I mean, you're one-off Phoenix ult. Maybe that's something that you can try to control so that you can have a better chance of going into the later rounds. One thing that I see differently too that Western was doing in the first half is that they were a lot more proactive with the space. I mean, Brock is consistently trying to reclear, get all this information, but Western is just so fast on what they want to do on the attacking rounds that they're able to just kind of steamroll and just, you know, utilize their numbers, utilize their utility to keep that control. So Brock needs to find an answer to either secure some early picks or maybe do some possible traps or just find some more information so that they're able to win those later rounds.
Can Brock be able to find one right now to break the cycle? Because Western has them on the ropes. A loss here, especially off of this rifle round, maybe propels us already into an early match point, series point, if you will, to try and make it into the grand finals. The running back confirms what they already knew. Slinga finds 2. Zombie Zeno and Hyun Bin are thrown into the bin, and you see them sprinting to try and come in, but hold that thought. They get the ult orb. Suddenly, this is a flank position. They get the first one. Can be able to find another one. They do. Slinga ends WJK's reign of supremacy, but it's going to be 4 with now threatening an ace. And look how deep they have a player towards Fountain. They can hear the rotation. Oh, no. Norse is going to get caught from behind.
It sounds like he heard you. Turned around. Doggo just taking his time. He might not be aware that Norps has already crossed. But Norps getting caught with his knife out. Doggo securing that pick. What a heartbreaking round. I mean, Slinger getting 2 on that initial pick and then securing that flank pick. I mean, Western's looking good. They're looking primed. Shots are falling and they are not slowing down. 2 rounds from the series.
Western ends up going, if they end up going forward, they will be playing against a York squad that they did not see this tournament. So York is probably paying a lot of attention to this matchup to see what might be coming forward. And 5 in a row, I mean, Brock is at death's door. Oh!
What a great shot from Hyun Bin. Zamzino trying to look for more. Elvis getting pushed back. Miracle getting his on the side of A site. Keeping back, and Human just trying to hold this cross with Astra. Western deciding to try to look for a pick onto Art, being down 2 players. Hearing this chamber trip close by, but Zamzino with his flash shot. Getting punished by Elvis despite being full blind. And Elvis getting a second onto connector. It's a 3v3.
Elvis like, this ain't done. Wait, hold on. This is weird. There should be another person here, and there very much was. WJK has been good for like 2 every round. We'll see if that ends up kind of coming to fruition here. They are on the lesser buy.
Brock
Gonna
with
use,
this.
they're using this for just a full delay, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confused as a defender. You don't normally see ults, but it's sent Western towards WJK, and WJK securing Elvis pick.
Oh.
North's
30 seconds left.
getting the
Spike
second.
down, B.
Out to Haruhiro, and Haruhiro getting shut down. Wow, I think that Ashura wall was, if it was on purpose, was meant to push them towards B, and putting that positioning from Brock, I mean, that worked out beautifully.
That was a ballsy call, because you're like, all right, when are we gonna be using this? We don't want to have to keep it for later to try and, you know, be a retake. So just force the lemmings off the cliff, get Western to commit to where we were, and then a hot shot from out of North's from this deeper corner off this generator. So solid work by Brock. They've come out and get that first pick immediately. Miracles, last time they had the golden gun, it did not work out. This time around, they put a new belt buckle onto Shermaine. So Elvis will be sitting out for later. First bloods, the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, really good value to get the Phoenix out of the way. I mean, they're losing flashes, especially with this op still online, but they're still looking to re-hit this A site. Astro Wall being committed. Miracle trying to get back on the line, punishing Slinga, looking for his third. He's not slowing down, and Human already on the flank. Doggo training back Zamzino, but Human getting picked back. It's a 1v2 for Arav. Chamber on the line. He's just taking his time. Miracle. Just holding. Jump peeking. Miracle. 4K. That's a round that you need.
Especially for Miracle. Miracle was a completely different player on the Vise rather, when we saw them onto Lotus. This time around, it's been a little bit wanting. When they were just before this round, they were at the bottom of the stack. So now you've grabbed 4, make that tour de force sing, and try to be cheeky. They're like, all right, the only way I can be able to do anything, I'm gonna jump over this corner and force them to swing. And Miracle was not at all dissuaded from that. They're gonna be pushing up early. They're gonna have this operator. Man, that was an aggressive push out. That's gonna be already Elvis finding Hyunbin and tossing him aside.
Yeah, Elvis being so, you know, prevalent in these early interactions, either dying or getting his, just getting a lot of value. And Zamzino in Art kind of aware that there could be a possible connector walk, but does he know that he is getting hunted here? The dog not spotting him, smoke being used. And he's just taking time, flashing out, seeing the fade. Elvis running gun blind, getting him after. It's a 3v5 for Brock. WJK getting put in this position, but he's fighting 2 sides, getting the pick, not getting Haruhiro. Haruhiro leading the charge down street. Committing the KJL for the space. But Norse trying to sneak by. Hopefully getting into the corner, making some noise. Is he aware that Doggo could see him? He sat in the corner.
Oh no.
Ah, didn't get Haruhiro.
30 seconds left.
That's
So
tough.
1v4
Spike
for
planted.
Miracle with the op online. I mean, down 11-8 might be a round that you need to keep this op for the future chances.
Gonna back on up. I saw in the all chat there, Justin, that Zombie Zeno said GG after getting the blind, losing the spray battle against Elvis, and now you've got your lone chamber that's getting hunted down. Are they gonna? They're not gonna see this coming. Oh no, you're losing your op. Oh no, after all that long save, That op is being taken away. Maybe that the morale is absolutely in the floor, just beyond it. The bricks are open, and Brock Esports, this is going to take a mighty recovery to try and bring this back.
Yeah, you don't have that timeout now being used earlier in the half. And Western just looking to, 4-round lead, take their time with the way that they've been fighting. I mean, Elvis has been consistently been in this early fights. Might look to do the same again in window. But they also have the op to work around with Slinger.
Well, first pick could do it. You're going to try and congregate here in mid. Aim to take over Plaza. A couple of Prowlers in trade. Slinga is aiming to challenge with this op. A free toy given to them after their teammate was able to get it. Zombie Zeno gets at least rid of Arav, and so they stick around just for now. Elvis, are they prepared? Don't let it happen again. Zombie Zeno wins it this time. They find the first two.
Getting his revenge back. Making it 3v5 for Western. Brock just keeping their control, trying to get back this mid space. Western trying to opt for a possible B hit here, having all their players outside. And Brock getting all the space. Singer trying to work this op. But a smoke might just block his cover. See. Getting punished by Zombino. He's third of the round. Sniffing for more. Dog spotting Astra in the smoke. Hard Hero getting spotted. Norf's getting his. Zamzino, they know the last is here. In the flank. Doggo. How much you could do there. Brock showing that they're still in it. I mean, honestly, getting the op back, having these 3 ults, it could happen. It could happen.
And I feel like that was an attitude round by Zombie Zeno. They felt awful about what happened that previous one. GG's tossed by them and just into the chat. But they got 3. I think they even got a 4th, or they were just real close to it. So trying to kind of revitalize not just themselves, but as well as their team, and really kind of keep them competitive.
Yeah, Miracle being put back on the same position that he got his 4K. Getting pushed out by Western, opting for this fast A hit. Getting seen. Miracle on the line. Not catching the fade, keeping back, and so continuing the charge towards Art. Punishing WJK. Western is just looking so strong and fast. It's a 5v2 for Brock.
Face your fear.
Planted.
I've all gone wrong.
Destroyed.
Brock Badgers. They have to be able to win this interaction. Zombie Zeno. They're not going to go honest through Mohawk of Plaza. They're going to try and rejoin their teammate. North's all by themselves. There's a lot of targets and a lot of people that do not want them to live. From up around this turn over towards Secret, they see them first. Able to get rid of Irate Fan. To be able to find the next one, no. That means you've got the run it back all down and dusted. You have to be able to run forward if you're Zombie Zeno. They don't want to let them move forward through the swarm grenade. They're just going to take this one open and honest. They're trying to be able to spray them down. They run and gun. Job is done. 13-9. Western, they're able to bite back in 2-0 fashion to force down the Badgers. And they'll be going over into the grand finals here for the CIE 2026 Valorant tournament. And I mean, Justin, this was a very tight contest in our Lotus matchup, and things just separated once we got over into the second half of Pearl.
Yeah, I mean, Western looking to face York here. York being a strong map. I've competed against them before, and they have a lot of great shooters, and they're playing fresh. Western really good ending there, keeping their composure, just winning a lot of individual rounds and making sure that they're not, falling behind on some of those, especially winning those retakes early in the half. They just look continuously primed. This is a team that in the beginning has completely changed. I mean, they have went from essentially starting their early pushes to regaining those fundamentals, regaining some of that utility control, and the strategies from their side of the team have just been looking a lot different, and they're looking good for this final matchup.
See if that one ends up being any different. Remember, there will be no bracket reset online. It's just another best of 3. So Western, the momentum is carrying them, and so are some fantastic plays that they're able to do. And some of those are because of one of our partners called One of Zero, which has supplied CIE this year with 6 gaming mice that can make you better at what you do, which is playing the game of Valorant. So if you guys want, type raffle, !raffle, RAFFLE, in case you didn't know how to spell it. Some of you already do, to be able to get your hands on one of those mice from One of Zero. And this is a great chance to be able to get one of those that's supplied by them. And you can code like a maniac, I guess, or you can design like a guru and game like an assassin, just like some of the Elvis plays you got to see a second ago. But otherwise, take pride in your setup and look good while you achieve it all. So discover your inspiration and defy definition and be One of Zero. So to learn more, type !1 of and number 0, One of Zero in the chat. For right now, we'll be taking a short break as we go into the grand finals. York set to face off against Western. You don't want to miss it. Be back in just a moment.